FM News Talk 97.1.
On-demand audio. You're listening to Allman in the Morning. Common Sense Radio.
Good morning, you bunch of drunks.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for calling the show. How are you?
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing great. What's up?
Hey, you just played that thing that about the Jewish Educational Council something.
Yeah, Jewish Council for...
Haven't we heard that before? Hasn't that group sponsored yet another ad with Sarah Silverman?
Yep, same ad. I was same people. The Sarah Silverman thing.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have to give up Pulp Fiction now. Why do they keep breaking my heart like this?
Oh, I know. And well, Samuel Jackson, he's a known quantity, and we know what his deal is. But for them to drag that little girl in there, I don't know who her corrupt parents are, but my goodness gracious.
He's probably a relative of George Soros. Isn't that Jewish educational thing run by George Soros' son?
I don't know. I'm going to do a little research on it and find out.
I think it is.
Man, I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, well, thank you, Lisa, for calling into the show. And again, it's kind of like one of these. I think this Jewish Council for Education and Research is probably equivalent to the Westboro Baptist Church. There's probably very little Jewish about this Council for Education and Research any more than there's much Baptist about the Westboro Baptist Church. So we'll see, though. But anyway, that ad, and I'll put it up on the electric stove for you right now. You can see it, and where this little girl is dragged into shilling for Planned Parenthood, walking in on her grandparents having intimate relations, and then doing the F word it's just unbelievable to me. I mean, anybody else who put their kid like on YouTube or whatever else, you'd be run out of town. But they put it in a formal ad, and Samuel L. Jackson, they must have paid him a ton of money for that thing. Ann Coulter, she goes on the View, and it's kind of like I've compared this before because Elizabeth Hasselbeck kind of has the same role. She's kind of like the nice girl in the women's prison. And Whoopi Goldberg, this time playing the lead bull dyke there. And Ann Coulter goes on to explain her book, Mugged, bravely so, and actually gets mugged by Whoopi Goldberg.
Republicans were winning the South since 1920. It was the outer states of the South. It was Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia.
Voting. What are you talking about? We weren't allowed to vote.
Who was trying to get them to vote? Republicans were.
Yeah,
and the first black congressmen were all Republicans, and the first black governor was a Republican.
You're talking about way back.
That's
after.
is so different from that is definitely.
Pause that for a second. Yeah, a moonbat complaining about going way back. I mean, aren't they the ones still talking about slavery and everything, I think? Oh, well.
But in fact, the Democratic segregationists were all liberal Democrats. It is a lie that they were conservative Democrats.
It was a segregationist, darling. Basically, everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were Republicans or not.
That's a complete denial of history on the part of Whoopi Goldberg. And what all Ann Coulter's trying to point out is this myth that somehow Democrats are good for blacks or have been throughout history is absolutely what it is, a myth. And, obviously we all know that the Republican was the one who casted the deciding vote in the 1964 Civil Rights Voting Act. So, that's all she's trying to say. And Whoopi decides she's just going to say, well, no, all white people were segregationists. Well, there were Republicans fighting on behalf of black Americans way back in the day when Democrats were not. When they were too busy at their Klan meetings to including one who became a senator, Senator Byrd, to actually lift a finger. And so I'm glad that Ann Coulter's like blowing up this myth, but Whoopi would have none of it. And then when she, how the left is always crazed about any insinuation that we ought to have a voter ID. People ought to show their IDs at the voting booths. Coulter goes after that too.
It seems to me that voter suppression is happening in areas where black people and Hispanics are, and it really is being promoted by the Republicans, not the Democrats. So in my view, and I have a different one from you, it looks as though the Republicans are really going against blacks, not the liberals.
No, and this is a perfect example. Yes, it is, and it's a perfect example. No, I'll explain why. Of liberals using the label of civil rights to promote a liberal cause they support, i.e. voter fraud. In fact, one of the first states in the union to pass voter ID bills was Rhode Island, 85% Democratic legislature. And who pushed it? A black Democrat in the House, a black Democrat in the Senate.
Talk about getting mugged. The minute Ann Coulter starts to make a point, you notice how everybody just jumps on her, interrupts her, and because they don't want to hear the truth. That was really obvious right there. Where she's just trying to explain that, in fact, the voter ID, the first one was promoted by the blacks. Well, what's interesting, or by a black lawmaker. But what's interesting is that Whoopi, we didn't play, it was cut out. There's a blank spot there. But Whoopi decided that in order to win the argument, she was going to just simply yell and then cuss. And that's how she was going to actually get through it. And, of course, all these weirdos in the audience, I don't know what the deal is. They're also, I guess, under Whoopi's Bull Dyke spell there in the women's prison. But they're all clapping, and, they can't stand Ann Coulter. But everything Coulter is saying is factually correct. Hey, Steve, thanks for calling the show, buddy. How you doing?
What's up, Jamie?
What's up?
Yeah, when I heard that yesterday, I was reminded of a quote that I read by Theodore Roosevelt. He said, if you want to anger a conservative, you tell him a lie, the truth. If you want to anger a liberal, you tell him a lie. And that's living proof of it right there.
Yeah. You mean, when you anger a liberal, you tell him a lie?
Yeah, if you want to anger a conservative, you tell him a lie. If you want to anger a liberal, you tell him the truth.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what I thought you meant. Hi, Christy. Thanks for calling the show. How are you?
Good morning. I was having a great morning till y'all started talking about this stuff.
Well, I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of creepy news.
Well, it kind of goes along with the whole leftist thinking. If we can't win, we're going to scream and curse at you. What kind of parents allow a child to go on there and, first of all, with, Samuel L. Jackson, the king of MFer. Second of all, how is that showing any class or education?
Yeah, and you know what?
And then you got Whoopi on there screaming and cussing. You can't win an argument because you have no facts, so let's just scream and cuss.
Yeah, it's kind of a running theme here through the lightning round, isn't it, Christy? Where we have people who essentially are trying to get their message across, but they're doing it with high volume and cuss words. Two examples of that: Whoopi and Samuel L. Jackson. Thanks for pointing out the symmetry there, Christy. It's Common Sense Radio.